The story begins with Dong-soo and his younger brother, Bom-jae, inside a fancy house one night. They hide when a woman with short hair arrives, but their fear spikes when she gets shot by a mysterious man. Dong-soo and Bom-jae, hiding under the bed, are filled with terror as the mysterious man approaches them. The trouble began when Dong-soo offered his services as a lawyer to prisoners. Despite his low fees, the inmates turned him down. It turns out Dong-soo has a reputation among the inmates as a cheap lawyer, since most lawyers work in law firms, unlike Dong-soo, who roams around offering his services. However, one mysterious inmate becomes intrigued by Dong-soo's story. Dong-soo struggles to make a living for his family by offering his services everywhere, often having to hide to avoid running into other legal teams. Unfortunately, he crosses paths with Moon Jae-jun, a lawyer who always looks down on him, bringing up an incident from 3 years ago when Dong-soo was sentenced for some issue. Moon even invites him to his legal seminar, seemingly implying that he's successful now. Meanwhile, Bom-jae works at an electronics store and occasionally raises prices without his boss knowing. Soon, his friend Yu shows up and presents a case involving a wealthy individual, suggesting that it should be given to Dong-soo. Dong-soo is currently on his way to pick up his niece, Min-hee, who is Bom-jae's daughter. He also takes the time to visit his mother at a nursing home, where she is suffering from dementia. Bom-jae arrives shortly after, and their mother becomes angry, denying that she is their mother. It turns out that Bom-jae and Dong-soo have different mothers, but share the same father. However, their mother still doesn't remember Dong-soo as her own son. While asking for money, Bom-jae presents a case that could potentially make them rich. Their client this time is Do-young, a former high school baseball athlete who was imprisoned after a fight with a referee during a game. After his release, Do-young quickly became part of a gangster's crew and became wealthy. To convince Dong-soo that their client is indeed wealthy, Bom-jae takes him to a hidden gambling den run by Do-young, which has remained hidden from the police due to its secretive location. Bom-jae hopes that Dong-soo will agree to meet Do-young, especially since Do-young himself wants to meet Dong-soo. When Dong-soo returns home, he's surprised to see his wife, Hae-young, with her hand wrapped in a cold compress. Hae-young claims it's just a sprain and will heal by tomorrow, but she seems to be hiding something. Unaware of this, Dong-soo is preoccupied with his rival, Moon, who is successful and planning to run for the position of Minister of Justice. Determined not to lose, Dong-soo begins researching the case involving Do-young. The following day, Dong-soo learns that Do-young was only involved in a drunk driving case and will soon be released after being defended by a lawyer from Moon's law firm. Naturally, Dong-soo finds this situation suspicious and shares his concerns with Bom-jae. However, Bom-jae insists that Dong-soo should meet Do-young first. Reluctantly, Dong-soo visits Do-young in prison, only to discover that Do-young doesn't want him as his lawyer. Instead, Do-young wants Dong-soo's help to find out if his girlfriend is cheating on him. Meanwhile, Hae-young, who works at a convenience store, can't work due to her injured hand. Her manager allows her to go home, but there's something strange about the way the manager speaks to her before she leaves. As Dong-soo is getting ready to leave, he receives a package from the security guard. When he sees what's inside, he is left stunned. Later, he meets Bom-jae and is shocked to find 10 million won inside the package as an advance payment. Do-young offers to pay Dong-soo 50 million won if he agrees to take on the task, but Dong-soo, being a good person, refuses the job because Do-young plans to harm his girlfriend if she's proven to be cheating, and Dong-soo doesn't want that to happen. However, when he sees a digital screen displaying Moon's law firm's success, his ambition grows. Dong-soo manages to locate Jae-yi, Do-young's girlfriend, but he remains uncertain, so he returns home. Back at home, while helping his wife fold clothes, Dong-soo accidentally notices a message on her phone about withdrawing a sexual harassment case report. Naturally, Dong-soo becomes curious, and his wife is compelled to explain. Initially, Hae-young was asked by the store manager to clean his house, and she didn't refuse because she knew he was out of town starting his own business. While cleaning the table, she was almost harassed, but she managed to escape, although her hand got injured. Dong-soo understandably becomes furious, but his wife tries to calm him down. Additionally, she owes 10 million won to the store manager because of Dong-su's mother, who recently set fire to a nursing home. Hae-young intentionally didn't tell him to spare her husband from more troubles. However, this issue is no longer about money, it's about his dignity. The following day, Dong-su went to speak with the store manager to ensure the harassment report would proceed. However, the manager looked down on him, mentioning that a lawyer's wife shouldn't be working as a store clerk. With limited choices and feeling cornered, Dong-su reluctantly used Do-young's money to settle the debt. Despite paying off the debt, the manager remained arrogant and Dong-su lost his temper. He grabbed a golf club and smashed a table, scaring the manager into apologizing. Dong-su forgave him, but insisted that the manager either leave or change his workplace because he didn't want his wife near someone as shady as him. After using the money, Dong-su went to meet Do-young and accepted the job. A few months ago, Do-young had driven under the influence and crashed into a building. He resisted the police but was eventually arrested and sent to jail. In short, they reached out to Yu to gather information about Jae, since he worked at one of Jae's hotels. Yu naturally became curious about why they suddenly asked about his boss, suspecting it had something to do with Do-young. They denied any connection, explaining that Do-young would soon be released, and this was simply a business matter. Finally, Yu revealed that despite his boss being a hostess, she was no ordinary one. She managed various businesses, including hotels and toll roads, as if she had strong backing. Furthermore, Yu provided information about Jae's schedule and daily routines, including details about her secluded home. Armed with this information, they began their investigation, knowing they had to complete their task before Do-young's release. They observed Jae walking with a council member named Suho, but it was simply a business trip to inspect a toll road project. Similarly, their other outings appeared business-related with nothing suspicious. After 10 days of nothing unusual, Dong-su visited the prison, hoping to share some good news with Do-young. However, Do-young threatened him, reminding him that his family would suffer if they failed to find what was stolen. So, they were compelled to continue their investigation. But after looking into the night of Do-young's arrest, when he had a fight with another gang member, Bom-jae sensed that something was off. According to reports, Do-young was heavily intoxicated, even though he hadn't consumed much alcohol. Meanwhile, the second person in the gang, Yoon-woo, visited Do-young and promised to take care of two individuals he suspected of being traitors. However, Do-young began to grow suspicious of Yoon-woo and eventually asked them to leave, claiming he needed rest. This suspicion was confirmed when Yoon-woo instructed his assistant, Sung-woo, to find out who had assisted Do-young. On the other hand, Dong-su decided to meet with Seung-gyo, his former lawyer colleague, who now worked at Moon's law firm. He hoped to gather information about Do-young and his case. According to Seung-gyo, Do-young's situation seemed unusual because typically, when a gangster boss is jailed, his subordinates quickly arrange for his release. Seung-gyo suspected that there might be a power struggle within the gang. Dong-su, starting to piece things together, asked if Do-young had a girlfriend, but Seung-gyo didn't have any information about that. He did mention that the previous gang leader, before Do-young, always had problems with women, even when he was sick. He still lived with a young woman who was also a hostess. When Moon arrived, Seung-gyo pretended to leave, knowing that Moon and Dong-su always argued. After being belittled by Moon, Seung-gyo unexpectedly received congratulations from Sung-goo for Dong-su's return to the world of law. However, it appeared that Sung-goo had some connection to Dong-su's past issues, particularly involving a woman named Park Ji-hoon, who was found dead with her car. After learning the person plotting against Do-young that likely connected to his girlfriend, Dong-su began to plan something with Bom-jae. The following day, after confirming that Jae had left, Dong-su instructed Bom-jae to use his skills as a store clerk to hack into Jae's home CCTV system. After succeeding, they entered and installed hidden cameras in every room. Out of curiosity, Bom-jae entered a room and found someone lying alone in a bedroom. That person turned out to be Lee Suk, the former gang leader before Do-young. The following day, Sung-woo approached Dong-su to inquire about his relationship with Do-young. Fortunately, Dong-soo provided an excuse, explaining that Do-young once wanted to offer him a job, but he declined because Do-young didn't see him as a lawyer, but rather as a subordinate. Not long after, they returned to Jae-yee's house to retrieve the hidden camera they had installed the previous day. Unfortunately, there was now a housekeeper guarding the place. Dong-soo waited until late at night, but instead of the housekeeper leaving, Jae-yee returned home, leaving Dong-soo desperate and prompting him to suggest to Bom-jae that they quit the job because he considered it too dangerous. Initially, Bom-jae refused, but when Yu called, informing them that Do-young's subordinates were asking about Dong-soo, Bom-jae finally agreed to stop. However, when they received news that Jae-yee needed a driver that day, Bom-jae immediately pursued Dong-soo. Consequently, Dong-soo took advantage of the situation to drive Jae-yee home, pretending to go to the restroom to retrieve the camera. Just as he was about to take one camera, he was nearly caught. Luckily, he didn't panic and came up with the excuse that he needed tissues. Dong-soo and Bom-jae felt relieved because they managed to retrieve one camera, which was what they needed. However, when they returned home, Dong-soo felt a sense of sadness as he saw his wife preparing a gift for her friend who was about to give birth. After being married for years without having children of their own, it remained a sensitive issue for them. Meanwhile, Yoon-woo was planning to harm Do-young in prison, and there were rumors that Do-young was getting closer to Dong-soo. The next day, as Dong-soo was about to go to prison, he noticed a group of thugs following him. Fortunately, Yu called him and sensed that something sinister was about to happen. Dong-soo went to the fish market to avoid them, and then had to take a taxi to the prison. He informed Do-young about his recent ordeal and handed him 2 flash drives, suggesting that what Do-young was looking for might be on one of them. Thinking his task was done, Dong-soo bid farewell and left. However, when Bom-jae's phone was turned off, Dong-soo grew worried. Moreover, when they went to the store to check, Bom-jae was nowhere to be found. The thought crossed his mind that Bom-jae might have taken the remaining camera at Jae-yee's house. Do-young watched the recordings and finally understood that he had gotten drunk because Jae-yee had conspired with Yoon-woo to drug his drink with a sedative. This meant they were planning to overthrow him, and he needed to be prepared. Shortly after, some of Yoon-woo's henchmen arrived at the prison, intent on killing him. Meanwhile, Dong-soo went to Jae-yee's house to make sure Bom-jae was there, and indeed, Bom-jae was present, trying to retrieve the remaining camera. But as they were about to leave, Jae-yee returned. Consequently, they hid, similar to the opening scene of the drama, when Do-young appeared, who fired a shot towards Jae-yee. Do-young intended to eliminate his former boss, who was lying down, but then he suddenly realized that Dong-soo was hiding under the bed. Yoon-woo was delighted to hear that his subordinates had killed Do-young and went to Jae-yee's house to celebrate their victory. However, upon entering the house, he found Jae-yee lying on the floor and assumed that Dong-soo and Bom-jae were the culprits because they were present. But then, Do-young arrived and surprised Yoon-woo. Do-young explained that while in prison, he had managed to defeat all of Yoon-woo's subordinates and had instructed one of Yoon-woo's men to provide false information. Do-young knew that Jae-yee had drugged his drink, leading to his arrest. Yoon-woo immediately begged for forgiveness, claiming it was all Jae-yee's plan. However, an already furious Do-young didn't want to hear any excuses. He intended to kill Dong-soo and Bom-jae as well. Dong-soo didn't want that and promised to keep the murder a secret while helping Do-young dispose of the evidence. At the same time, they arranged for Do-young to leave the crime scene, ensuring there would be witnesses to provide an alibi if the murder were ever revealed. Meanwhile, Dong-soo gave Bom-jae a drink to bolster his courage to commit the crime. The next day, when he woke up, Dong-soo hoped that the events of the previous night were just a terrible dream. To relieve some tension, he intentionally drove his wife to work. However, he couldn't relax entirely. He then went to Bom-jae's house to retrieve the video recording of the murder from the previous night. His intention was to report it to the police, and Bom-jae shouldn't get involved anymore because Dong-soo would bear all the responsibility alone. Bom-jae initially refused because he believed that he should be the one to make the sacrifice, since he was the one who dragged Dong-soo into this mess. At the police station, Dong-soo reconsidered whether to report or not. When his phone rang, he rushed to pick up Min-hee and almost collided with a police car, prompting him to apologize. When they arrived at the school, Do-young was already there, a clear sign that Dong-soo should not mess with him. Dong-soo explained that he had gone to the police station to meet another client, then reluctantly handed over the flash drive with the recording. Do-young then gave Dong-soo his phone and considered him a close friend. Not long after, Do-young arrived at his gang's headquarters and destroyed Yoon-woo's nameplate. This made Sung-woo panic and pretend not to know what was happening. However, Do-young was not easily fooled. He ordered one of the men there, named Damo, to duel with Sung-woo, and if he could defeat him, Damo would replace Sung-woo. Sung-woo didn't accept this and attempted to fight back, but he was quickly defeated with a single blow. Meanwhile, Dong-soo panicked when he saw Min-hee return home with someone else, thinking it was Do-young. However, it was Cool-jin, their new neighbor, who coincidentally had a child attending the same school as Min-hee. While casually drinking coffee, Cool-jin mentioned the incident earlier in the day, suggesting that Dong-soo might want to report it to the police. However, Dong-soo chose to remain silent, considering Do-young was a gangster who could easily eliminate those he disliked. Do-young had now reclaimed leadership of his gang, with Damo as his deputy. During the meeting, Do-young exposed the betrayal by Yoon-woo and Jae-yi in front of all his subordinates, making Sung-woo nervous, as it seemed that Do-young suspected him as well. On the other hand, Dong-soo and Bom-jae planned to report Do-young's gambling den to the police in the hope of getting Do-young arrested and freeing themselves from his intimidation. So, Dong-soo met with Do-young and pretended to cooperate as long as Do-young disclosed all his businesses, including the casino. Meanwhile, Sung-woo informed OJ, a council member, and the people behind the scenes of the gang about Yoon-woo's failed coup, and his current whereabouts remained unknown. The next day, Dong-soo waited at a predetermined location, blindfolded, to keep their meeting secret. Bom-jae had a tracking device to follow Dong-soo while posing as a street vendor. However, the challenge was that Dong-soo had to cross the ocean to reach the gambling location, which raised concerns about how to report it, because the tracking device might not work well during the ocean crossing. Upon reaching the island, all visitors had to surrender their phones and identification to the authorities. Do-young welcomed Dong-soo and invited him to his private casino, which was disguised as a tourist attraction. Later, Do-young excused himself to use the restroom. However, when the queue was long, Dong-soo grabbed some tissues and ventured into the woods, claiming he needed to relieve himself. In reality, he used a walkie-talkie to inform Bom-jae of his location, which was on an island about 40 minutes away and close to a lighthouse. He nearly got caught, but managed to escape without arousing suspicion from the guards. Meanwhile, Bom-jae swiftly reported the location to the police and rented a boat to rescue Dong-soo. Soon, sirens blared as police arrived on the island, causing everyone to scramble to hide any evidence. Believing his plan had succeeded, Dong-soo hurriedly left the scene, unaware that Do-young had been observing him. In the end, Bom-jae successfully found the island, although the boat couldn't get too close due to shallow reefs. This forced Dong-soo to swim first before he could reach the boat. They felt relieved, thinking they had finally escaped from Do-young's grasp. The next day, there was no news about the crackdown on illegal gambling since America and Monaco were more concerned about online gambling. Dong-soo's phone rang, indicating he was still under Do-young's watchful eye. Dong-soo went to a warehouse and acted pleased that Do-young had avoided the police raid. He explained that he fled to prevent both of them from getting caught, ready to rescue Do-young if needed. However, Do-young's gang had its own procedure. When they heard about a police raid, they quickly hid the evidence and acted normal. The issue was that Do-young gathered those suspected of informing the police, and Bom-jae was among them. Dong-soo panicked, knowing Bom-jae faced the gruesome punishment of having his hands amputated. He tried to stop it, even offering to injure his own hand, but the beatings continued. In desperation, Dong-soo began laughing and suggested a modern approach to gambling, online gambling, which would operate 24/7. He had seen it on the morning news, convincing Do-young to agree. His suspicions eased when one of his men captured a gambler caught reporting to the police. Meanwhile, influential council members were inaugurating a ship's launch. OJ and Chon-ho were there too, discussing Moon's candidacy for Minister of Justice, thanks to his father, Sung-guk. Cool Jin asked his colleague Sun Kyung about the progress of the gambling case, but Sun Kyung feigned ignorance and appeared to cover it up. OJ summoned Do-young, expressing concern about his ability to secure his gambling clients. However, Do-young seemed casual, as he was planning a new gambling system with Dong-soo. Interestingly, Do-young grew suspicious that OJ might be behind the betrayal and coup plan. Meanwhile, Dong-soo and Bom-jae were feeling stuck, as it seemed they were still under Do-young's control. Dong-soo went to pick up his wife, but he overheard some coworkers gossiping about her, saying she had seduced a manager. This made Dong-soo angry, but his wife stopped him, revealing that the real issue was that the manager hadn't resigned and had even filed a defamation lawsuit against her. This infuriated Dong-soo even more. Meanwhile, Damo informed others that Do-young's decision to partner with Dong-soo in the gambling business was a smart move. Dong-soo had a history as the youngest senior manager at Moon's law firm, making him an expert in management and law. However, he had faced issues in the past that had led to disciplinary actions, all falsely created by Sung-guk. Do-young had plans to use Dong-soo's resentment against Sung-guk. At the same time, Dong-soo bravely went to the manager's house with the intention of confronting him physically. Unfortunately, he was caught by security guards and taken to the police station against his will. When Dong-soo woke up, he was shocked to find that the manager's lawyer was Moon. Furthermore, the lawsuit ordered Dong-soo to maintain a distance and avoid any contact with the manager. Dong-soo was furious, but was held back by his wife. Seeing how unfairly her husband was being treated, she threatened to report the manager for harassment. With all that had happened, Dong-soo felt heartbroken, wondering why he was always oppressed by Moon. This reminded Dong-soo of how he got into trouble in the first place. Back then, there was a woman named Park Ji-hoon, who worked as an accountant at Moon's law firm, but was falsely accused of embezzlement. It was a scheme orchestrated by Sung-guk to easily acquire money. Ji-hoon sought help from Dong-soo, but he couldn't stand up to his boss. As a result, for trying to defy his own law firm, Dong-soo lost his position and was disciplined as a lawyer. Soon-gyo knew that Dong-soo was framed, but he couldn't do anything. Soon-gyo advised Dong-soo to give up, as Moon and his father would use various methods to defeat him. However, Dong-soo refused to surrender and continued to study his wife's case to stand up against Moon. The next morning, Moon became arrogant and confident that he would win against Dong-soo in court the following day. Meanwhile, Bom-jae took his daughter to buy some food while calling Dong-soo. Shortly after that, the doorbell rang, and when it was opened, Do-young arrived. He offered assistance to ensure that Dong-soo would win in court tomorrow. Do-young's subordinates intentionally bumped into Moon's car, provoking Moon to chase after the culprit. When provoked, Moon lost control of his car, resulting in a collision, and he fainted. Now it was Dong-soo's turn to decide whether to accept Do-young's offer, because if Moon appeared in court tomorrow, Dong-soo would lose. Moon was now under the watchful eye of Damo, awaiting further instructions. The next day, Dong-soo still wanted to face Moon honestly and asked Do-young to release him. However, overhearing a conversation between two substitute lawyers who belittled him made him change his mind, especially after seeing how much his wife hoped for him to win the trial. Finally, Dong-soo called Do-young and instructed him to detain Moon and thwart Moon's candidacy for the position of Minister of Justice. Not long after, the trial was held using substitute lawyers. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Moon, who had just regained consciousness, was shocked to find himself in police custody on charges of harassment, with a naked woman as a witness sitting inside a toilet. Returning to the trial, the defendant's specific and consistent statements about the sexual harassment allegations eventually led the judge to reject the plaintiffs', in this case, the manager's, claims of defamation. This meant that Dong-soo had won the trial, and his wife could be cleared of the lawsuit. This made Dong-soo happy. Outside, Do-young was already waiting for him to fulfill the promise that Dong-soo would work with him to run online gambling. In the evening, Dong-soo was treated to dinner by Do-young, who shared that his father had been a fisherman, and he used to secretly catch fish for his baseball coach. Dong-soo then asked about Moon, who was currently detained, worried because his father would surely not remain idle and would still try to nominate his son as minister. However, Do-young appeared nonchalant and wanted to continue discussing his online gambling business. Dong-soo was ready to start, with the condition that when the business was up and running, Dong-soo would not disturb Do-young and his family anymore. Hearing this plan, Bom-jae naturally protested because not only was it an illegal business, but he also disliked how Do-young had nearly killed them before. However, Dong-soo promised that after everything was done, he would take his family abroad. Moreover, Do-young had already paid them, and he would use a portion of it for their mother's hospital expenses. On the other hand, Chon-ho was furious because his party had not chosen him as a council member, but Do-young encouraged him to run anyway, promising to fund everything. Meanwhile, even though he was free, Moon continued to be angry because his name was tarnished by the recent case. In the meantime, Dong-soo and Bom-jae met with a programmer named C-Doc, who would help them operate the online gambling business. By coincidence, C-Doc was a former client of Dong-soo, who had once been trapped by loan sharks due to gambling. Thanks to Dong-soo, he was able to repay his debt with normal interest rates. Therefore, C-Doc promised to help and provide the database that Dong-soo requested. However, Bom-jae was suspicious that Dong-soo was actually enjoying this job. Returning to Moon, who begged for forgiveness from his father due to the recent case, his candidacy for Minister of Justice was now being evaluated by the party. To address this, Sung-gook approached Oh-jae to manage his son's nomination and find out who framed his son. Meanwhile, Sung-woo, with no clear direction in mind, accidentally spotted one of Oh-jae's subordinates at a workshop. Quietly, he asked the workshop owner what Oh-jae's subordinate was looking for. It turned out the person was looking for a silver-colored car. This reminded Sung-woo of the incident when he was attacked by Damo in a silver car, and he believed that the perpetrator was Do-young. However, a problem arose when Do-young's subordinates were attacked by their rival gang. So, Oh-jae led two gangs, his own and the one led by Do-young. Both gangs operated under the guise of consulting firms. But due to difficulties in control, Oh-jae eventually ordered Yoon-woo to help his gang overthrow Do-young. However, this attempt failed because Do-young managed to overcome it and might now be stronger than Oh-jae. Consequently, he was now making arrangements with the boss of his rival gang to pay for all the losses, including when he was nearly killed in prison, amounting to 470 million won. Afterward, Do-young sent photos of his rival gang's defeat to Oh-jae, so that Oh-jae would not underestimate him anymore. Not long after, Dong-soo presented his plan, which involved a card game application with in-game currency that could be exchanged for real money. Both the losers and winners were predetermined, with a margin of profit during the exchange. This business was safe and controllable, and even if there were raids, they could handle it in just 5 minutes. To implement it, Dong-soo would divide his team into 4 groups. First, the central division would manage the money exchange and ensure the servers ran smoothly. Second, the sub-central office would handle fake savings books and cash withdrawals, managing the flow of money. Third was marketing, responsible for promoting the website and recruiting members. The fourth group was the internet cafe, where people would spend their time. Do-young seemed to agree and wanted to start the business in no more than 20 days, with a target of making billions of won in profit per month. Dong-soo was bewildered, but Do-young didn't care. On the other hand, Sung-gook met with Chon-ho, who was running for council membership. Despite Sung-gook having supported him in the 2 previous terms, Chon-ho didn't care. His current candidacy was not due to Sung-gook's support. Back to Dong-soo, even before his online gambling was released, he encountered a problem. After C-Doc disappeared without completing his task, he instructed Bom-jae to find him at the poker gambling place. Meanwhile, Oh-jae informed Sung-gook that the mastermind behind Moon's framing was Do-young, presenting Sung-woo as a witness. However, Sung-gook was not easily convinced. This was evidenced when he actually physically attacked Sung-woo instead of thanking him for the information. But thanks to this, he gained additional information that Dong-soo had been helping Du-young all along. Dong-soo himself went to meet Du-young and asked why the implementation of online gambling was so rushed. Du-young explained that he wanted to defeat OJ, the person who controlled gambling in the city, including deciding who would be council members. So if this project failed, his chosen candidates would also fail, and they would all lose. Fortunately, Bom-jae managed to find C-Doc and was promptly picked up by Dong-soo. Not forgetting to remind C-Doc that this job was not trivial. If C-Doc tried to escape again, he would not be able to protect him from Du-young's subordinates. This made Bom-jae suspicious again, thinking that Dong-soo was enjoying his role as a criminal. After several weeks of working without eating and sleeping, their gambling server was finally ready to operate, waiting for its launch. That evening, Du-young explained that the two people behind OJ were Sung-gook. So Du-young persuaded Dong-soo to ensure that their cooperation did not end too soon, and Dong-soo could also exact revenge on Sung-gook. The following day marked the launch event, and everyone was feeling quite nervous because there weren't many people attending. To make matters worse, C-Doc warned them that there might be problems with their servers. Bom-jae explained that it happened because a lot of people were trying to access their website all at once. They also found out that their employees were overwhelmed with requests for in-game currency exchange, which made them realize they needed to fix and upgrade their servers. Meanwhile, their rival gang continued to do things the old way. At the same time, Damo showed up with his crew to try and take control of the city's gambling business. Shortly after that, OJ arrived, but he couldn't do much because his gang didn't have anyone as strong as Du-young. The next day, Du-young saw Chon-ho, who had been nominated again by his party to become a council member. Meanwhile, Dong-soo, who had just woken up, was surprised to receive hundreds of millions of won and a fancy car from Du-young as a reward for his success. Not just Dong-soo, but also C-Doc made a lot of money. With the online gambling business doing so well, C-Doc managed to pay off his debts. However, Dong-soo had initially planned to quit once things were running smoothly, but when he saw the huge amount of money brought in by Du-young's team, he started to reconsider leaving the business. Dong-soo tried to talk Bom-jae into thinking again about their roles in the online gambling business, but Bom-jae was firm about wanting to quit and not deal with Du-young anymore. Meanwhile, OJ attended an event with government officials and business people. He was worried because his gambling business was doing poorly. At the event, he met Chon-ho, who was proudly talking about being elected as a council member again and introduced his new supporter, Du-young. This really annoyed OJ, especially when Du-young made him look bad. It was a clear sign that Du-young was now on his own, with Chon-ho supporting him. Later that night, Dong-soo met with Du-young and gave him a list of potential new programmers to replace Bom-jae and C-Doc, but Du-young didn't seem ready to let Dong-soo go easily. He told Damo to keep an eye on Dong-soo and follow him wherever he went. During that night, Dong-soo unexpectedly bumped into Chul-jin. Dong-soo shared a story about a friend who had recently won the lottery. He had come up with the idea to buy the lottery ticket, but his friend ended up winning. Chul-jin, as a police officer, sometimes felt the same way. He would confiscate money and valuable things, but had to give them to the government. Before leaving, Chul-jin gave something to Dong-soo. When he returned to the office, a concerned mother reported that her boss, Jae-yi, had disappeared. Unfortunately, the police couldn't take any action because the report didn't come from close family members. Meanwhile, Sung-gook, who already knew that Du-young was the one behind all this, told OJ to find a way to cut off Du-young's source of funds and figure out why Dong-soo was helping him. Sung-woo, who was pressured for information, revealed that Du-young was now running an internet cafe business. OJ had doubts about how a regular internet cave could make Du-young so rich, so he asked Sung-woo to gather more details. On the other hand, Dong-soo was celebrating his mother's birthday, even though she didn't recognize him as her son. They discussed their plans to move to Australia, especially Min-hee, who was excited about the idea. Little did they know that Damo was watching them from outside. Outside, Bom-jae expressed concern about bringing their mother along, fearing she might set fire to a nursing home again, as she had done in the past. Dong-soo reassured him that in Australia the weather was warm, and his mother only did that when it was cold. The reason behind his mother's tendency to set fires was explained. When they were poor, she used an old-style manual room heater that required her to hold a matchstick constantly. She would then go downstairs to light the heater. This habit stuck due to her dementia, and if she felt cold, she might accidentally set something on fire. Sung-woo then went to the internet cafe, even entered the office, and met Dong-soo in the elevator. However, only Dong-soo was allowed inside, and he shared the names of new staff members who would replace him. He also explained the company's standard operating procedures to avoid detection by the police. However, Do-young wanted to test the business's security by intentionally reporting it to the police. The police arrived, but Dong-soo quickly managed everything, leaving no evidence behind, and the gambling site became inaccessible. A week later, Dong-soo said his goodbyes, feeling his job was done, and Do-young gave him money, hoping he might return someday. Meanwhile, Sung-woo continued to be scolded by OJ for not finding the source of Do-young's money, becoming a laughingstock among his gangmates. He overheard OJ planning something at the nursing home where Dong-soo's mother lived, but decided to leave the city. However, Do-young's subordinates intercepted him and beat him until he revealed OJ's plan against Dong-soo's mother. Do-young instructed Damo to keep an eye on Dong-soo. Meanwhile, Do-young's rival gang prepared for action. Meanwhile, Dong-soo was busy booking tickets to Australia, but realized he was being followed upon his return. He confronted Damo, asking if Do-young wanted to kill him. Damo explained that Sung-goob and OJ now intended to harm his family, so Do-young had tasked him with following Dong-soo. Simultaneously, Do-young's rival gang set fire to the nursing home where Dong-soo's mother lived. Realizing his mother was in danger, Dong-soo rushed to the nursing home, but it was too late. The nursing home had burned down, and his mother was critically ill. Surprisingly, her dementia disappeared, and she greeted Dong-soo, saying it wasn't cold anymore. Dong-soo felt sorrow and wanted to treat his mother to her favorite meals once she recovered. However, his mother could only apologize and passed away. Bom-jae, learning of his mother's death, visited the morgue to see her one last time. On the day of Dong-soo's mother's funeral, Do-young and his subordinates attended, offering numerous floral arrangements as a final tribute. Do-young wanted to show that he was there for Dong-soo in any situation. Dong-soo approached Sung-goob because he suspected Sung-goob might be responsible for the fire. Dong-soo was very close to harming Sung-goob, but held back. Later, Dong-soo met with Do-young and asked why he had punched the referee during a match. Do-young confessed that he had been injured and that it was his final match. So when he discovered that the referee had been bribed, he decided to punch the referee instead of retiring due to his injury. Do-young believed life was all about choices. Dong-soo agreed to team up with Do-young to seek revenge against OJ and Sung-goob. After their conversation, Dong-soo visited his mother's grave, recalling their last moments together. Even though his mother didn't recognize him as her son, he knew she was proud of her child who had become a lawyer. Her death fueled his desire for revenge. When Do-young informed him that he had captured the rival gang's boss, Dong-soo rushed to confront him and threw him into a pond, but he stopped short of killing him. He spared the rival gang leader in exchange for help in taking down OJ and Sung-goob. Do-young explained that Sung-goob and OJ's relationship was similar to their own, that of a gangster and a lawyer. Do-young asked why Sung-goob hated Dong-soo so much, given their history. Dong-soo finally revealed, when he worked as a manager at Moon Law Firm, Sung-goob had used the firm's accountant to move illegal funds, set a trap that led to Dong-soo being accused of embezzlement. Dong-soo had helped the woman involved and even exposed the situation to the media, causing Sung-goob to withdraw his candidacy at the time. However, Dong-soo was ultimately fired and disciplined as a lawyer. Do-young guessed that the woman was Park Ji-hoon, as OJ had instructed Yoon-woo to sink her car into a river, which was done under Sung-goob's orders, just like the nursing home fire tragedy. Do-young believed that when OJ and Sung-goob were backed into a corner, they would prioritize saving themselves. The next day, the police found Jae-yee's body washed up on the beach, and Chul Jin and corrupt officer Soon Kyung led the investigation. Soon Kyung directed suspicion towards Du Yong because the gang Jae Yi used to be a part of was now under Du Yong's leadership. Unbeknownst to Chul Jin and Soon Kyung, OJ and Sung-gu were manipulating Soon Kyung. They planned to frame Du Yong and Dong-soo for the murder. Meanwhile, Dong-soo aimed to update his online gambling site to make more money by getting players addicted to the game, but it didn't go as planned. Unlike Dong-soo, Bom Jae wasn't thrilled about Dong-soo still working with Du Yong. However, for the sake of revenge against Sung-gu, he agreed to continue with the illegal business. Later, Dong-soo asked about the discovery of Jae-yi's body, thinking it could be used against Sung-gu and OJ. But Du Yong advised him to stay calm, assuring that he would handle everything. That night, Damo forcefully took a portion of illegal goods being transported by OJ's subordinates from a truck. The next morning, the stolen goods were scattered in front of Moon Law Firm's office. Meanwhile, Dong-soo received a special suit from Du Yong to wear. At the scene, the police were inspecting illegal goods and the media was broadcasting it live. Sung-gu believed he could handle everything and declared that Dong-soo and Du Yong had chosen the wrong opponents. Meanwhile, Soon Kyung, who was also investigating, tried to hinder Chul Jin's inquiry, including the CCTV footage and other evidence. At the same time, OJ, who had arrived at the police station earlier, told the media he was wrongly accused. However, Du Yong wasn't far behind. Dong-soo showed up with 3 gangsters as his clients and surrendered for the nursing home arson case. OJ tried to meet with Police Chief Kim, but Soon Kyung intercepted him since the chief wasn't there. When they called Police Chief Kim, he refused to come because he was with Chon-ho, and Du Yong had offered a bigger bribe, even involving the city's bank director, to help their operation. Unable to meet Police Chief Kim, OJ pressured Soon Kyung to implicate Du Yong in Jae-yi's murder. After Soon Kyung left, Dong-soo came in, stating that his client had identified OJ as the mastermind behind the nursing home fire. OJ laughed it off, saying that a lawyer couldn't be trusted when a gangster testified. He suggested that Dong-soo transfer his case to Sung-gu or face going down alone. Dong-soo also claimed to have photographic evidence related to smuggling. Before leaving, OJ warned Dong-soo to be cautious of Du Yong, as he was cunning and could dispose of him at any time. However, Dong-soo didn't care. His goal was to bring down Sung-gu. He handed over the photos of OJ's smuggling to Chul Jin. Later that night, Dong-soo discussed the case's progress with Du Yong, noting that OJ only admitted to the smuggling. Du Yong mentioned that OJ's assets had been frozen by the bank director, which meant he'd run out of money to handle his case. They needed to closely monitor OJ's storage facility, because the remaining goods would soon be sold by him. Additionally, without Dong-soo's knowledge, Du Yong intended to take over OJ's shipping company. Meanwhile, Soon Kyung continued to connect the ongoing cases to Du Yong and Dong-soo. Soon Kyung explained that Du Yong now lived in Jae-yi's former house, and during the murder, Dong-soo had been her lawyer. Meanwhile, OJ's subordinates were getting ready to sell the remaining illegal goods, just as Dong-soo had predicted. Damo followed them to collect evidence. The next day, Bom Jae accidentally saw Yu working as a courier for gambling money. Yu admitted that his income had increased thanks to the new gambling website, making Bom Jae feel guilty for unintentionally involving his friend in illegal activities. Meanwhile, Moon coincidentally encountered Dong-soo and taunted him, claiming that Dong-soo's efforts were futile because his father had control over everything. It turned out that Sung-gu had instructed OJ to surrender, promising to have him released within a month after meeting with the Attorney General. So, OJ turned himself in for the smuggling case. OJ, like many influential people, pretended to be sick to avoid jail, frustrating Dong-soo despite having strong evidence in the form of photos. However, Dong-soo recalled Du Yong's words, suggesting that OJ and Sung-gu would save themselves when trouble arose. Dong-soo immediately called Du Yong, suspecting that Sung-gu intended to send OJ to the hospital not to save him but to eliminate him. With the smuggling case exposed, OJ became useless to Sung-gu, so they needed to meet. At the hospital, Dong-soo asked OJ if he truly trusted Sung-gook. OJ claimed he did because as long as he did Sung-gook's dirty work, he always got released and Sung-gook kept his promises. However, when Dong-soo showed OJ the photo of his subordinates selling the remaining illegal goods without his knowledge, OJ realized Sung-gook's true intentions. As Dong-soo was leaving, he unexpectedly encountered the person from the photo, who turned out to be OJ's trusted aide. Sung-gook had instructed OJ's subordinates to eliminate him. In this dire situation, Do-young came to the rescue. The next day, Sung-gook grew worried as he couldn't reach OJ and repeatedly called him. However, he was puzzled when he heard the ringing tone coming from his bag. Upon opening it, he found his subordinate incapacitated. OJ finally confessed to all his crimes, including the nursing home arson, smuggling, and the death of Park Ji-hoon. He revealed that Sung-gook was the mastermind behind it all. This brought joy to Do-young as he didn't expect Dong-soo to achieve so much. Dong-soo was also thrilled, now wearing luxury attire as a symbol of his newfound strength and influence. OJ's testimony had caught the attention of the police, leading to an investigation into the Moon law firm. Dong-soo, on the other hand, decided to reveal Park Ji-hoon case to the public as a way to expose Sung-gook's crimes. This move not only made Dong-soo a famous lawyer for fighting corruption, but also cleared his own name. His wife and Bom-jae were proud of him, and it made Sung-gook quite worried. As they waited for Sung-gook's arrest, Dong-soo took his wife on a shopping, even buying expensive jewelry. He kept his current job a secret, though. Additionally, he gave Bom-jae a fancy watch and planned to increase his commission. The next day, Do-young took over OJ's shipping company and offshore casino, but OJ reminded Dong-soo that he was no ordinary person and would eventually outdo Do-young. Dong-soo's reputation continued to rise, and he was invited to a special event attended by many renowned law firms, eager to have him join their ranks. However, soon Gyo suggested that Dong-soo should start his own law firm, especially since his name was becoming well known. Meanwhile, Do-young was trying to acquire OJ's company, but government authorities refused, claiming they couldn't be bribed. Do-young offered a promotion, which made the person reconsider his request. Dong-soo was often seen smiling, and even thought about starting his own law firm after his online gambling scheme ran smoothly. However, he grew frustrated when Do-young's subordinates kept closing the internet cafe and focusing on the fake room, which generated more revenue. Dong-soo protested to Do-young, as the internet cafe was their only diversion in case they were inspected. Do-young appeared to be unconcerned, despite knowing that Dong-soo held many of his secrets, which could pose a significant threat. In an attempt to change his status from a gangster to a businessman, he tried to buy OJ's company. However, Moon was determined to stop this from happening. He continued to pressure Sun Kyun to implicate Do-young and Dong-soo in Jae-yi's death. Meanwhile, Sung-gook met with the Attorney General, ensuring that a friend of theirs would become the district attorney in Sung-gook's area. This would protect Sung-gook in any case involving him, potentially endangering Do-young and Dong-soo. On the other hand, Kool Jin and Sun Kyung arrived at Jae-yi's house, which was now occupied by Do-young. They questioned Do-young about Jae-yi's death, as he had moved in shortly after her disappearance. Do-young claimed he was there to care for Lee-suk, who was sick. However, when Kool Jin pressed further, Dong-soo suddenly appeared, surprising Kool Jin, who realized that his neighbor was a lawyer for gangsters. Dong-soo explained that Do-young's alibi had saved him, but based on motives, Do-young was the prime suspect in Jae-yi's death and Yoon-woo's disappearance. Dong-soo disagreed with the motive, revealing that Jae-yi had secretly married Do-young's former boss, but had an affair with Yoon-woo. Most importantly, they vanished after embezzling company funds. This led Kool Jin to suspect that Yoon-woo was the one who murdered Jae-yi and disappeared with the money. Dong-soo warned that if Kool Jin didn't believe him, he would show them a video of their affair. Reluctantly, Kool Jin left, still believing that Do-young was the culprit. Dong-soo began to panic, fearing that the police might uncover the case, implicating him as well. He urged Do-young to move Yoon-woo's body immediately, but Do-young became furious and didn't like the pressure. Shortly after, Chon Ho, who had received a report that Du Yong was suspected of being a murderer, grew angry. Associating with gangsters would tarnish his reputation as a council member. However, upon seeing the substantial amount of money from Du Yong, he chose to remain silent. The following day, Cool Jean met with Bom Jae and asked if it was true that Dong Su had been driving Jae Yi on the day before her death. Cool Jean also learned from Yu that Bom Jae had introduced Du Yong to Dong Su. Naturally, Bom Jae got worried and quickly informed Dong Su about it. Dong Su told Bom Jae to stay calm, even though he was confused about Du Yong's true intentions. Eventually, Dong Su gathered the courage to meet with Du Yong, but Du Yong paid him no attention, as Sunggook had sent a message for a meeting. When Dong Su returned home, he was troubled because Moon had filed a complaint against him, claiming that he had damaged Moon's reputation. Moon argued that Dong Su used Park Ji-hoon's death as a way to get back at him since he had been fired from Moon's company in the past. This meant that Sunggook's arrest might be delayed, especially after hearing that the candidate for district attorney was a friend of Sunggook. Meanwhile, Sunggook, who no longer had his henchmen, proposed a partnership to Du Yong, promising to protect him from any trouble. However, there was one condition, that Du Yong had to eliminate Dong Su. Dong Su went to his sister Park Ji-hoon's house, but she had withdrawn her lawsuit after receiving a settlement from Sunggook's side. This left Dong Su disappointed, especially since he had risked his career to defend Park Ji-hoon in the past. Now, he had been betrayed by his own family. The next day, after dropping off his wife at home, Dong Su was forcefully taken by Du Yong's men. Simultaneously, Sunggook was picked up by Damo, who claimed his boss wanted to meet him. Dong Su was brought to an empty container, where Du Yong awaited with a stern face. Shortly after, Sunggook arrived and confidently declared that tonight would be Dong Su's last night. However, to Sunggook's surprise, Du Yong admitted he didn't want to decide who to choose because he didn't want to become a gangster like OJ. They both wanted to eliminate each other, so Du Yong decided that whoever could leave the container would be his partner. Sunggook swiftly drew his knife and attacked Dong Su, but Dong Su managed to evade and fight back, ultimately killing Sunggook. Before dying, Sunggook briefly mentioned that Dong Su would never have peace if he continued to be with Du Yong. Afterward, Du Yong approached Dong Su, congratulating him as he would become his true partner. Several days after Sunggook's death, Du Yong had gained complete control of OJ's company. However, Dama was concerned because Dong Su hadn't appeared, but Du Yong remained composed, as he had also felt something when he committed his first murder. News reports said Sunggook was missing, and Bom Jae suspected that Dong Su was responsible. Dong Su kept dreaming about the moment when he killed Sunggook, making him realize he needed to move on. He got rid of all his justice books because he had transformed into a killer who no longer cared about justice. Not long after, Dong Su met with Du Yong and agreed to become more like him, realizing that his previous naivety had always led him to help others. Du Yong explained his plan to open a legal sea casino, which would yield much higher profits than illegal online gambling. He wanted Dong Su to establish his own law firm, similar to the partnership between OJ and Sunggook. Dong Su agreed, with the condition that he received a share of the sea casino profits. However, behind this, Dong Su seemed to have another plan, instructing Bom Jae to leave his job as an IT specialist in online gambling. Instead, Dong Su would provide the capital for Bom Jae to start a new, safer business. Bom Jae was pleased, as he had wanted to leave his illegal job for a long time. Still, he wondered about Dong Su's true intentions because Dong Su didn't provide specific details. It was clear that Dong Su intended to handle everything himself. Meanwhile, Moon pressured the police to find his father immediately, suspecting that Du Yong and Dong Su were responsible. However, Soon Kyung, who appeared to have been influenced by Du Yong, disagreed. He cited the lack of evidence pointing to Du Yong's involvement and even prevented Cool Jean from further investigating the Jae case. Soon Kyung mentioned DNA forensic results that indicated Yoon Woo's presence on almost every part of Jae's body. This led to the case being closed as the primary suspect, Yoon Woo, had vanished. However, Cool Jean was determined to continue the investigation, suspecting that Soon Kyung could be bribed. Returning to Dong Soo, he excitedly shared with his wife that he would be starting his own law firm. However, Moon showed up and angrily blamed Dong Soo for his father's disappearance. Dong Soo took Moon outside, but Moon wouldn't stop accusing him. In frustration, Dong Soo threatened to harm Moon right then and there. This sudden change in demeanor shocked his wife, who had always known him as a gentle and kind person. In summary, Dong Soo's law firm was ready to begin operations, and Du Yong discussed his sea casino project, which needed to triple its profits. To achieve this, he wanted Dong Soo to close down all the illegal gambling establishments in the city, except for Du Yong's own. Consequently, Dong Soo collaborated with corrupt police officers to shut down the illegal gambling locations. That night, while they were both drunk, Dong Soo and Du Yong talked. Dong Soo asked how Du Yong, who had once been a baseball athlete, ended up in the mafia world and became a henchman of Lee Suk. Du Yong then openly admitted that he was responsible for his boss's transformation because his boss was overly loyal to OJ and he didn't like it. He also had ambitions of standing on his own. Hearing this, Dong Soo understood that one day he might face a similar fate at the hands of Du Yong. Therefore, he needed to plan a way to eliminate Du Yong before he became the one ousted. Meanwhile, Cool Jean returned to see Bom Jae and asked about the Jae case, believing it was connected to Dong Soo and Du Yong. However, Cool Jean knew Bom Jae wouldn't want to reveal his brother's secrets. So he clarified that he was mainly targeting Du Yong, not Dong Soo. If Bom Jae changed his mind, he was willing to assist. On the other hand, Dong Soo met with Chund, the leader of Du Yong's rival gang. He offered Chund a gambling place in exchange for help in eliminating Du Yong. However, Chund declined because he lacked the strength to challenge Du Yong. Meanwhile, Hae Young asked Bom Jae about her husband's changes, but he didn't reveal anything. However, he was worried that his older brother might be manipulated by Du Yong again. So, Bom Jae met with Dong Soo, suspecting that Du Yong might have killed Sunguk, making Dong Soo obedient to him. Dong Soo got angry and assured Bom Jae that he planned to become wealthy and regain control of his business. The problem was that Du Yong knew about Dong Soo's meeting with their rival gang. So Du Yong invited Chund and Dong Soo to have a meal together, making Chund anxious about their betrayal plan being discovered. Thankfully, Dong Soo explained that they were discussing setting up a gambling place, and its profits would benefit Du Yong, keeping them safe. As for Bom Jae, who initially considered reporting to the police, but changed his mind to leave, it made Cool Jean more suspicious. He quickly met with Dong Soo and informed him about Bom Jae's distress and his connection with Du Yong. Dong Soo was upset about why Bom Jae met with Cool Jean, but Bom Jae got angry in return, not wanting Dong Soo to be trapped in destruction. However, Dong Soo didn't care anymore and immediately left a voice message for Chund because their plan had to proceed. The next day, Bom Jae recalled his father's death and how he came to live with Dong Soo's mother. Despite knowing that Bom Jae was the result of his father's affair, Dong Soo still cared for him. That's why Bom Jae didn't want Dong Soo to continue a life of crime. Bom Jae met with Du Yong and returned all the money Du Yong had given them, with the condition that Du Yong release Dong Soo. Du Yong could only smile because Bom Jae didn't know about the crimes Dong Soo had committed. That night, during a meeting, Damo prevented Dong Soo from entering on Du Yong's orders. Dong Soo was confused about what Du Yong had in mind. However, it was too late because Soon Kyung had already sent his officers to arrest Bom Jae for the murder case. The police had found evidence of Sunguk's body not far from his house, and Bom Jae was taken to the police station. Meanwhile, Dong Soo, who had just learned about this, received a call from Du Yong, who casually bid farewell. Dong Soo then went to see Bom Jae and promised to get him released soon. However, Bom Jae refused, feeling it was his fault for introducing Du Yong to Dong Soo. He was even willing to confess as Sunguk's killer to secure Dong Soo's freedom. At the same time, Du Yong's sea casino had officially opened, turning Du Yong from a gangster boss into an entrepreneur. Dong Soo couldn't stay passive, so he asked his wife to temporarily go to their family home. This raised suspicions for his wife, wondering if it had something to do with Bom Jae's arrest the previous day. The next day, Dong-soo met up with Chul-jin and shared the story of how he got close to Do-young. He confessed to the murders of Jae-yi and Yoon-woo, as well as Sung-goo's death. He promised to turn himself in once he succeeded in catching Do-young, and he asked for Chul-jin's help. Later, Chul-jin met Bom Jae in the interrogation room, where Bom Jae still claimed to be Sung-goo's killer. Chul-jin urged him to tell the truth, but Bom Jae couldn't provide details of the murder. The most crucial point was that Dong-soo had confessed to everything. Consequently, Bom Jae revealed the location of Yoon-woo's body, which he had hidden in the pool in front of Do-young's house. At the same time, Chul-jin called Dong-soo because they couldn't get a search warrant. However, Dong-soo had an idea for Chul-jin. He suggested that they go to Do-young's house that night, believing that Do-young would soon move Yoon-woo's body. Furthermore, Dong-soo assigned C-Doc to hack into Do-young's house's CCTV to monitor all of Do-young's activities at home. Not long after, Damo had reached his rival gang's headquarters, but it was empty. He decided to retreat, but on his way home, he was ambushed and killed. Chund was pleased with Damo's death. Meanwhile, Do-young, who felt uneasy when his calls went unanswered, immediately went into hiding, fearing for his life. As expected, Chun sent some of his men to eliminate Do-young. At the same time, Chul-jin arrived at the scene too. He heard the commotion inside the house, so he went in and found Do-young covered in blood. Right away, Chul-jin called his fellow police officers because Do-young had been involved in many killings and was planning to recover Yoon-woo's body from the pool. But when Chul-jin entered, he was suddenly attacked and killed. It turned out that Chund and Dong-soo had carefully planned everything, and Chul-jin was part of their backup plan. If Chun's men failed to defeat Do-young, they would have to eliminate Chul-jin to make it seem like Do-young had done it. Do-young then realized the situation and managed to hide his wounds and escape because the police had already arrived at his house. Meanwhile, the police chief informed Chon-ho about Do-young's imminent arrest. However, Chon-ho reassured him that Dong-soo had met with him and explained his plan. So, regardless of what happened to Do-young, they would still be safe because they could count on Dong-soo's help, which was a better option than Do-young. Meanwhile, C-Doc reported that he had deleted all the evidence related to Dong-soo, which meant that online gambling crimes and other crimes associated with Do-young would no longer implicate Dong-soo. The issue now was that they couldn't locate Do-young, even though the police were searching for him. Do-young was officially declared a fugitive, and when Dong-soo's wife saw this, she remembered that her husband had invested in Do-young's law firm. This made Hae-young believe that her husband had become involved in criminal activities. On the other hand, Bom Jae was eventually released from custody. However, when he learned that Chul-jin had died at Do-young's house the previous night, he realized that Dong-soo had used Chul-jin to capture Do-young. When Dong-soo greeted Bom Jae with a smile upon his release, Bom Jae became angry because Dong-soo had resorted to such a ruthless method to free him. Later, Dong-soo met with Chon-ho and Police Chief Kim as they were going to be allies from now on. Although Dong-soo was pleased that his plans had gone smoothly, his wife decided to leave him after learning about his actions. Dong-soo tried to justify his actions by showing a large sum of money as a sign that he did it all for the family. However, his wife considered it meaningless if the money was earned through crime and deceit. She was determined to leave, feeling disappointed that her once kind-hearted husband had changed. The following day, Bom Jae visited his mother's grave to say goodbye because he was moving to Canada. While cleaning up, Do-young approached him. That night, Dong-soo was happy when he received a contact from Bom Jae. However, his joy turned into anger when he realized it was Do-young who had reached out, so he prepared a weapon just in case. However, when Dong-soo entered, he was immediately attacked by Do-young. Do-young wanted to end Dong-soo and Bom Jae's lives tonight. He was furious because Dong-soo had foiled his plans, even though he was very close to becoming the most successful person in Korea. Luckily, Do-young decided to target Bom Jae first, so that Dong-soo could shoot him. But Do-young, who was tough to take down, put up a strong fight, leading to a fierce battle between the two. Du Yang was indeed stronger, but Dong Su managed to grab a piece of iron and stabbed it into Du Yang's body, before shooting him multiple times until he succumbed. The power struggle had finally ended, but Bom Jae was critically injured. Before he passed away, Bom Jae wished that Dong Su could leave behind a life of anxiety and greed. Instantly, Dong Su cried uncontrollably because he had lost Bom Jae, whom he deeply cherished. Overwhelmed by guilt, Dong Su contemplated do the unthinkable. However, 3 years later, he was still alive and had become a renowned lawyer defending the underprivileged, much like he once was. If he had received justice earlier, he wouldn't be in this situation now and would be living happily with his family. Despite now representing the poor, he still ran the mafia and oversaw gambling with gangsters. He even resided in Du Yang's house, where he could only gaze at family photos while recalling Du Yang's advice that to defeat criminals, he had to become one himself. Moral lesson from the story: don't try to make money by becoming a gangster lawyer while simultaneously defending the poor and fighting corruption, because you might end up living in your enemy's house and missing out on happiness with your family.